we go.
Boring Reviews!
All right, welcome back to Boring Reviews. Nick here, and haven't posted a video for the last 2 days because I've been working on a movie reaction. Gabe and I watched Starpata, Parambrai. We watched it. I've been trying to learn how to do the editing and everything for the movie reaction so I can cut it down to YouTube's limits and all that kind of stuff. And I've had some snags. I'm still working on it. I am going to post it to our Patreon page for our Patreons to be able to see the full reaction of us watching that movie. But be on the lookout for when I'm able to get all that worked out and bring to you our reaction parts. There'll be several parts to it. But with that being said, welcome to Boring Reviews. Today I am reacting to a video solo. Jody and I reacted to an India-Pakistan, not India-Pakistan, to an India-Bangladesh complexities of the border, and lots of requests to talk about India-Pakistan border. And so, and I didn't realize when we were watching that Bangladesh video that was previously controlled by Pakistan, I believe, that area before Bangladesh got control of it. So I'm here to check out this video from Varun, the request, and from several other people actually on that video to check out this video. Thank you so much for the request. It's called How This Border Transformed a Subcontinent, India and Pakistan. And I'm hoping because it is India, Pakistan, that the comment section can be, you know, respectful and focus just on the content here. I don't know anything about the border, and I'm assuming that's what this is going to focus on, about the border history or anything like that. Obviously, I know about a little bit about the history of India and Pakistan and currently and all that kind of stuff. But I'm going to go ahead and jump into this. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and let's go ahead and check this out right now. See this guy break it down for me. Beautiful.
This is the Golden Temple.
Heard about the Golden Temple.
People come here
Meals?
from all over the world to bathe in its waters, to look at the holy book that is inside of this middle Golden Temple, and to just experience the holiness of this place. This place is the epicenter of Sikhism. It sits right here in northern India, in a city called Amritsar. Close by, there's another important Sikh site called Kartarpur. It was established by the founder of Sikhism 500 years ago. It's the place where he spent the last years of his life, and it is the second holiest place in Sikhism. For centuries, Sikhs have been able to make pilgrimage between these two sites, to move freely throughout their heartland.
Makes sense.
But in 1947, a British lawyer drew a border here, turning what had been British India into two new countries, India and Pakistan.
I can only call it the most sort of bizarre lines which were ever drawn across a map.
It went right here, with the Golden Temple on one side and Kartarpur on the other. Thanks to this border, Sikhs in India are now cut off from their holy site.
Wow.
So many come here, to a platform that the Border Patrol set up.
That is so kind of messed up.
The platform looks across the border, where with the help of telescopes, Sikhs can look at their holy place, just 3 or 4 kilometers away.
Wow, just to look at, they're coming far and wide. He's there. I think this is the...
In addition to cutting off communities from their sacred sites, this border separated families, cut across rivers, forests, farms, railroad tracks.
Is this the same guy that they hired to do the borders and never been there before?
Today, this border is heavily fortified, with nearly all 3,000 plus kilometers fenced.
Wow.
It's lit so well that you can see it from space.
What?
And barely anything or anyone crosses over it.
When we talk about the drawing of the line, what was the most painful was the division of families which took place. And that is a very big reality.
This is the story of a violent separation, one of the most traumatic events of the 20th century. It's the story of how a hastily drawn line on a map separated one people into two.
This is a horror story. What we saw was a town soaked with the stench of death.
In the trail of murder and arson come the refugees. Their suffering is the new tragedy of India. Many will never reach their new land.
These are the things that are setting the hearts burning on either side of the line.
The sun is setting and I'm walking along one of the oldest roads in Asia, one that used to connect this region. But today, a border runs through it. And instead of connection and trade, what you see here is this. There's barbed wire, there's fences, there are officers everywhere, and yet there's also ice cream and popcorn and paraphernalia.
Gosh.
This feels like a sporting event.
Yeah, I can see that.
You can buy keychains of machine guns.
Wow. That's what people are.
Thousands of spectators file in, filling this stadium that looks down on the border. On the other side, Pakistanis are doing the same. Then, both sides start their different show. Two hours of chanting and dancing.
So they show up to chant and be louder than the other country. I know I'm trivializing it there, but that's the gist of it, right?
Then the finale, a face-off between the two sides.
Got it. Open it up.
They strut back and forth in this coordinated choreography. And it all ends with the lowering of each flag and the closing of this gate. This bizarre border show plays out every evening. But this ceremony, this fence, this intense nationalism, if you rewind just a little in time, none of this existed. The British controlled parts of India for nearly 200 years, but by 1947, a strong movement of independence was swelling across the subcontinent. While back in Britain, the country was in massive debt after fighting World War II and didn't have the resources to hold on to their colony. So, they started making plans to leave India. British officials thought that a proper transfer of power would probably take around 5 years. But when the British leader in charge arrived in early 1947, he hastily decided to shrink their exit timeline. And so what needed 5 years would now need to be done in just 4 months.
Why?
British India was to be split into two independent nations, a mostly Muslim Pakistan and a Hindu majority but officially secular India. To do the actual drawing of the border, the British brought in a lawyer from London. He arrived the month before the British were supposed to leave India. He hadn't been to British India before and didn't know much about the region.
He had no idea about India, no idea about Indian geography, no idea about Indian politics.
And yet he was the one drawing the lines on the map that would affect millions of lives.
That's power right there.
During his visit, this British lawyer looked at maps and census data, focusing on the maps that showed religious identity of people in India. India has a wide variety of religions, and based on these census maps, you can see that people of all religions lived amongst each other all over the region. So to draw the line, the British lawyer looked at individual districts, putting any district that had a Muslim majority population into the new country of Pakistan, while Hindu and Sikh majority districts would be kept within India. Based on this method, the lawyer began to see what a border might look like.
From a logical standpoint.
He only had 5 weeks to do this. He later wrote that it would have taken years to settle on a proper boundary. And that's because this method of drawing the line conceals that within these districts, there were sizable communities of all religions that had been living side by side for centuries, all throughout India.
August 15th, 1947, Independence Day for India and Pakistan, but Gandhi is not present. Why the celebration?
The British lawyer left that day. He would never return to India again. 2 days after independence, the borders were made public, prompting more than 14 million people to leave their homes, their lives, for what was now their side of the border.
We were told that you have to cross the border, India.
Hindus and Sikhs from Pakistan moved into India, and many Muslims in India moved into the new Pakistan.
These were people who were indeed forced to lose their entire homes, their memories, their childhood, and the things they saw.
It was one of the largest forced migrations of people ever, and it was chaos. A chaos that led to widespread, unspeakable violence. Cities on fire, sexual violence against women, trains full of dead bodies. The survivors I talked to were just children when all of this happened.
ਸਾਨੂੰ ਐ ਲੱਗਾ ਵੀ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਇੱਥੇ ਮਾਰ ਦੇਣਗੇ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਨਿਕਲਣਾ ਪੈਣਾ ਹੈ ਲੈਣਾ ਹੀ ਲੱਗੀਆਂ ਹੁੰਦੀਆਂ ਸੀ ਖੂਨੋ ਖੂਨ ਹੋਇਆ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਸੀ
This is crazy.
The division of the subcontinent became known as the partition of India, a phrase synonymous with trauma, fueled by the reckless mismanagement of an imperial power.
One dude comes in and affects millions upon millions. This is crazy.
I'm in a small village right near the border on the Indian side that used to be a Muslim community before partition. And in the middle of town is this shrine where residents would conduct ornate Muslim burial practices on these graves. If you look at the original maps that the British drew up when they were trying to draw this line, this town was actually in Pakistan in most of the maps. But in the end, the British lawyer decided to draw the line here. The people here discovered that they were now a part of the new country of India, and so many of them fled just across the border to the new state of Pakistan, and they left this place empty. But just as Muslims were leaving this village for the new Pakistan, Hindus and Sikhs from Pakistan were coming across into India, and some ended up here.
उनको अपनी जो ज़मीन थी अपनी उनकी वो पाकिस्तान से इधर लौट हुई.
The Hindus and Sikhs that now live in this community have taken it upon themselves to continue the Muslim traditions that this community was based off of. They continue to maintain these graves and these symbols, even though they don't necessarily pertain to their own religion.
That is amazing.
बहुत अच्छी तरह से ध्यान रखती है. कमेटी भी बनी हुई है. दूसरा ना लोगों की हर कम्युनिटी की इसमें श्रद्धा है. श्रद्धा के तौर पर जितनी इसकी संभाल होती है ना कमी नहीं आती.
That is amazing.
This is a sign of respect, of common identity in spite of the border. But this is just one side of the story.
The subcontinent echoes and shudders to the sounds of a full-scale, undeclared war.
Within just a few months of drawing this border, India and Pakistan were fighting an all-out war. One that centered on this region in the north, which both sides claimed as their own. The new countries would fight several more wars over the years. A border fence would eventually fortify the majority of this boundary, and both countries would acquire nuclear weapons, turning up the tensions and deepening the division. But if you take away the geopolitical bluster, the nukes, the barrier, the trauma of partition, you can still see how much these two countries have in common. I'm at a school in Delhi. Students are Skyping with a school in Pakistan.
वो अच्छा हिंदुस्तान जो है वो पार्टीशन से पहले ना हम और इंडियन साथ मिलकर रहते थे.
That's interesting.
जलेबी फाफड़ा मिलता है. हाँ मेरा पेट भर गया लंबा. अच्छा आपको क्रिकेट में कौन कौन से प्लेयर अच्छे लगते हैं? विराट कोहली, महेंद्र सिंह धोनी.
These kids are speaking a similar language, and it takes them just minutes to dive into the common roots of their culture.
I wonder how the parents feel about that.
This shared identity that these kids are feeling isn't uncommon in India or Pakistan.
Same language, same taste, same food. Whereas Hindus and Muslims and Sikhs used to live together, attend each other's social functions, marriages, everything. Why this divide now?
If you stand in the walled city in Amritsar and you stand in the walled city in Lahore, believe me, the smells, which is a kind of giveaway, are the same.
That's interesting. You got all those shots that are just mirror images almost. This guy's good. This channel is really good.
I'm visiting a group of Sikhs coming off the train. They were able to get a visa to go visit this religious site that most have to see through a telescope.
ਅੰਦਾਜ਼ਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਿ ਅਸੀਂ ਸਾਡਾ ਚਾਹ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਮਨੋਬਲ ਪੂਰਾ ਹੋਇਆ ਤੇ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਬਹੁਤ ਪਿਆਰ ਵੀ ਮਿਲਿਆ ਉਸ ਕੰਟਰੀ ਦਾ ਉੱਥੇ ਹੀ ਆਪਣਾ ਕਲਚਰ ਵੇਖਿਆ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਸਾਡਾ ਸਿੱਖ ਰਾਜ ਰਿਹਾ ਸੀ.
So with all these cultural similarities, all these happy faces, shared interests, how do you explain this?
You see, it is the politician who poisons people's minds.
कि हिंदुस्तान दुनिया में सॉफ्टवेयर एक्सपोर्ट करता है और आपके हुक्मरान टेररिस्टों को एक्सपोर्ट करते हैं.
The divide is created, nurtured, fostered because it suits a certain politics.
Over the years, politicians on both sides have exploited tension with the other side to stoke feelings of nationalism.
और हम उसको तेज करेंगे और पूरे विश्व में आपको अकेला रहने के लिए हम मजबूर करके रहेंगे.
दोनों देशों में नफरत का कारण है मेरे लीडर, चाहे वो पाकिस्तान के लीडर हो या हिंदुस्तान के लीडर हो, ये शांति नहीं चाहते हैं.
Back here at this viewing platform, there's construction vehicles everywhere. For years, the Sikhs have lobbied for easier access to their holy site. And after years, the two governments finally agreed to build a little notch into this border. A corridor that will allow Sikhs to freely access their site without a visa.
Wow.
These 4 kilometers will restore a small part of what was once the Sikh heartland. But for millions of Indians and Pakistanis who continue to live with the repercussions of the traumatic events of 1947, this fortified and volatile border remains unchanged. If anything, it's getting thicker. 70 years later, the shadow of partition continues to divide families, halt trade, cut connections, stop cooperation, instill fear, promote hatred. And the people who live in its shadow, on both sides, old and young, continue to live with this division that's superimposed upon their history of deep connection. This episode of Borders focused on one story of partition, the story of the division of Punjab. We can only cover so much with Borders, and we have to choose a very narrow story and focus in on that. If you're interested in learning about other conflicts and borders that have to do with religion, you should check out a documentary series called Holy War. It's on a website called Curiosity Stream, which is a repository of documentaries and nonfiction films. For $2.99 a month, you can get unlimited access, but because you're a Borders fan, you can get the first 31 days for free if you go to curiositystream.com/borders and enter the promo code BORDERS. Curiosity Stream is the exclusive sponsor of this episode of Borders, and while they don't influence our editorial process or what the video is about, they do support us, and so I'm very grateful for that. Thank you, Curiosity Stream. You should definitely check them out.
All right. So, great video. Fantastic video. Very informative. And I see right there that Jabby and Achara react to this video. I see it as a suggestion. Very informative video. But politics, I choose to stay away from talking about politics, getting too wrapped up into politics in, my own country, my own state, because for me, it's very frustrating in so many ways. And I'm not going to go on a political tirade because I'm in the vast minority who chooses not to get wrapped up and involved in political issues. Do I get frustrated with decisions that are made or decisions that aren't made? Absolutely. Do I voice those frustrations? Absolutely, from time to time. But I just don't buy into it. All right? I just don't buy into it. And so a lot of what this video said really, really spoke to me in a lot of ways. And all I want to say about that is it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate that political decisions, political statements are able to affect and motivate so many. But as a human race, I'm not talking about American, Indian, Pakistan, as a human race, on my soapbox for a second, we have to see what's in front of us if we get a chance to see. Now, with that being said, I understand the British lawyer's decision to go with what he did. Timeline was cut short. He said it would have taken a year or more to do this right. The other guy, I don't know why the other guy said we have 5 years and let's do it in 4 months. I don't get that at all. If you're going to do something, do it right. Now, maybe India wanted them out of there as soon as possible, and so that's what it was, and tensions were high, whatever. But you got to do it right. I understand what he's doing. There's more Muslims than Hindus, so this is... But you saw that one state or that one area before the partition, like 51% of one religion and 47 to 49 of the other. Almost half those people are going to be forced to leave. Now, you can look on the bright side and say, yeah, well, the Muslims leaving current India, their homes are left unattended, and the Hindus coming to current India, they can just swap homes, so to speak, but it's not that easy. It's not even close to being that easy. And I've seen, what was that movie I saw, was it a movie or a TV show? I can't remember, about the partition, and now it makes a whole lot more sense. A whole lot more sense. That's insane. Really, really touching about how they made a decision to create that like almost bridge type thing so that these Sikhs, please let me know in the comment section below which is the preferred preference, Sikh or Sikh. But for some reason, me learning about Sikhism, I have really grown a fondness for that religion because of what they stand for, because of how committed the members seems to be, and because of their ideals. I really have a special place in my heart for that religion, which is why it's even more heartbreaking for me that they aren't not able to get to a holy land that they consider holy. You may not consider it, but they do, and they can't get there. Now they're going to be able to. I think that's fantastic. I think that's absolutely fantastic. And it's going to be an amazing day when that road is, that border, that bridge, whatever it's called, is finished. But also touching about that one place in India where they maintain the Muslim religious sites. That is so cool. And that was really touching. I just want to say a shout out to whoever those people are. You have my respect. Because respect is it's an undervalued form of currency. It really is. But I love that so much. I'm very interested to know your thoughts. And I'm going to say it right now, I'm probably going to get a few thumbs down. I don't really want to know your politicized regurgitation thoughts. I want to know your thoughts of what you think about this. More information that this was not able to share. Was this an accurate video? A lot of times I do these videos and you say, yeah, it was mostly accurate, or not really accurate, or really. I want to know how accurate was that content. It seemed like the guy was well versed and that the video was put together well. But you let me know. You guys are the experts. Thank you so much for watching this. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And until next time, adios.